This is also a female entrepreneurship thing. It's not just a male thing. And the only boy in this son in this family happens to be owner in only one company, and in that particular company only a co-owner. It makes you think, doesn't it? A second case nearby. This is a company that was started in 1952 by three brothers, and it has developed a long way and has become the largest Finnish company specializing in flowers. And during the development, there have been, of course, changes in ownership, and you could actually see some kind of succession process, transfer to first generation to second generation and so forth. And again, described with the number of shares, how do things go. But it doesn't actually show any development in terms of entrepreneurship. It doesn't show development in terms of the business side, just the ownership. Here's the same company again. Now looking from the different perspective, we can see 22 different buyouts, startups, mergers, exits, that sort of things. Some of those things are only done because of business. It's a good business decision to start up a new, or to do a joint venture together with a competitor, or to split a company in two, and so forth. Sometimes it's because of those persons, those family members, for some reasons can't talk to each other anymore. So they decide to leave and take their ownership with them. And sometimes it's about securing the family ownership and transferring those shares and responsibilities to the next generation and so forth. If from the barely share owning picture we can't see entrepreneurship, if we take another point, actually I can see a lot of entrepreneurship in that picture. And it's not the point of who happens to own it. You know, the family owns. The family is creating and generating and accumulating wealth. And the next question is, now after 50 years, you know, it's now in the position where it can finance its own ventures. It's very fast. It was very fast. After something like 10 years of systematic work, they were in the position of doing quite clever business decisions on their own. But the point is that the owning and entrepreneuring operator is actually a family. People somehow being personally attached to each other. You know, the problem, why don't we have this in a larger scale, that kind of research? We can't do it in a quantitative way. It's almost impossible to measure quantitatively. That's something that we have to dig into very much. How should we measure it in statistics? How should we measure it in questionnaires to sort of follow it through? What does it look like in larger scale? Well, this is the same case now in the end of 2007. It has changed already again after this position, but in that case there are still the family members in the ownership, and the number of different businesses owned is 10. Now, the question is, okay, if here's the main company and then there are other companies, can we be sure without studying and without further look which company is the most interesting one, which is the one that is going to succeed, which is the one that gives the reasons to the next startup, merger, acquisition, or something that would lead us to say, well, this is a growth company. Okay. This kind of research leads to a lot of questions, and first of all, it leads to a point of saying we have an open systems case. Very much entrepreneurship research has been dealing with very closed relationships. The owner, the company are closely and dependent of each other, and it's a closed system. There's nothing in between. It's not like that. We could draw it in a different way. This is a systemic view, open systems view, where the family as a social construction is there in the middle, in the core. It's not the company in the core, it's the family in the core. It's the point of wealth creation and securing the living and that sort of things. And companies, businesses, startups, that sort of things are there as a tool. They are used as a tool there in the sort of subsystems. They are used for to handle the environmental changes. They are used for handling the new emerging opportunities and that sort of things. And they can be created, they can be grown, and they can be sold very easily. If the family or the owner happens to take that kind of perspective, it's not the company for your lifetime. It's a practical decision. So it probably has systemic goals. It's not just goals for one particular company, but systemic goals for the whole business system. And it has systemic borders, but we don't know them yet, actually very well yet. How do those families define which companies belong to the cluster or mini group? Or what do we have here? And for sure there is cohesion in the system that keeps it together, and probably it's the person-related factors that create those processes, and for sure entropy, things that are sort of ripping the system down or apart from its other subsystems, and probably they are generated by the environmental changes and of course business reasons. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's wise to let some businesses go and to keep some others. So that's more or less what I wanted to say. Thank you.